From the developmental years in early education to institutes of higher learning, teachers and educators help us to understand the world in molding, guiding us, and being mentors in aspects of our lives. In this mini-series on Teacher Appreciation Week for 2025, I am joined by one of my own teachers and one of the educators that inspired me to create this podcast. From her early life as a teacher in Colombia to becoming an educator in the United States, we explore her experience as a Fulbright scholar in the early 90s and how she came to be a professor at the University of Nevada Reno, Fernley Nevada, and ultimately Hugg High School in Reno. We reminisce on Spanish Club, her experience with her students, the challenges of being an educator for ESL and Spanish, lacking resources, and the administration battles she fought for her students, as well as her guidance and mentoring she provided to many of my fellow classmates and international students. Welcome back to the ESL sessions on this, another episode of the segment En Mi Comunidad, and sticking on the subject of the Teacher Appreciation Week for 2025. On this episode, I have another really special guest, very particularly because not only did she teach me, she was also my ESL teacher, along with my Spanish teacher. And then on top of that, she's actually one of the reasons why I was inspired to name the podcast the ESL Sessions. But before I get into any more details and we get to know her, I'll let her give herself a brief introduction and then we'll get to know her a little bit better. So whenever you're ready.
Okay. Thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate that you still remembered about me. So I'm from Colombia and I was teaching there time ago, and I participated in the Fulbright exchange teacher program and came here to the States and spent almost a year. After that, I went back to Colombia and keep working on my classes, and I got this another opportunity to come to the United States after I did that Fulbright exchange. So I came here, and when I was here, I also went to UNR and met some teachers. When I came back, I got a job at UNR, and I got a job at the Washoe County School after I moved to Lyon County School. And I worked here for several years. I was teaching English as a foreign language in Colombia and Spanish. And when I came here, I was teaching English as a second language, tutoring English with the students for the ESL program, also teaching Spanish at UNR. So I was pretty busy. Also, I love the Spanish. So I also, I work at two schools I work at. From the ones I work at, I put together the AP Spanish program for the students who already knew Spanish and could take advantage of that and get credits to go to the university. So I did that. I'm proud of that, proud of my students. It turned better than I thought because I didn't want to be a teacher. I studied in a public school. I studied at the public university in Colombia, Universidad Nacional de Colombia. And when I studied there, they told me I was going to be a teacher. So I was crying and I didn't want to be a teacher. And I just wanted to travel and learn languages. Who knew? My passion. I love teaching. I love my students. It's the best that happened to me. And always working with the Spanish and the English. So what else can I tell you? Became family with my students because I have them basically since they start 9th grade to 12th grade. And we're like a family. We had the Spanish club. We have a lot of fun. We did a lot of activities. I really still think about that. And unfortunately, I'm not working right now. But still, sometimes I wish I still was working as a Spanish teacher or ESL teacher or just a teacher.
Okay. No, that's a lot of an introduction, but it gives me a lot of ideas to be able to ask a little bit more of what happened after I graduated, primarily because I know you were still a teacher after I graduated in 2011. but also to be able to ask a little bit more about how your life growing up was, in how your the education system in Colombia affected you, and as well as like how your Fulbright gave you the opportunity to actually come to the States. But we'll get to that in a little bit. But so to introduce you, you are Marta Barbosa. I knew you as Miss Urrutia. That was some time back.
Correct.
But going on to that, tell me, how was it for you growing up in Colombia? What was something different from the education system down there that it definitely changed your perspective on learning, especially when you came to the States on that first trip under the Fulbright?
Well, kids at that time were quite differently. They really minded teacher. They were more respectful. Here, I have to, work a lot to get my students respect, but I did it. Even they made me cry, and I cried in front of them, so I told them why I was crying, and they understood, and we became like a family. So it's quite never like it to work in private schools. I don't know why. I always studied at the public school, and when I was teaching in Colombia, I was working for a public school too, and I was even teaching German because I knew some German. I did that too, and after I started working on the exchange program to come here to the States, to a public school too. So I just like public schools. I don't know. I think students are appreciating more they work as a teacher than in a private school. So I don't regret about what I did.
Gotcha. No, that's really good, and it's really interesting because I had a little bit of experience too in Mexico, being in school. I got to at least first grade. So even coming from there to the States in '99, I mean it's a big difference, but you do see the big differences in the way that the education system is in each country, and even so much more different, like just right across the border. But let's keeping on your early years. So you studied in Colombia at the National University of Colombia, and you were able to come to the Fulbright. What year was that when you traveled to the States for the first time?
Okay, the first time actually, I traveled in 1994. I went. I was in one of the college in Boston, Massachusetts, during the summer, so improving my English and have a great time. But after in 1995, I came here to the States. It was 1995, 1996 when I did the Fulbright exchange teacher program. Is when I did that.
Gotcha.
And went back to Colombia. And being here in the States, I was not supposed to get involved, but I got married here. So I went back to Colombia, spent some years in Colombia. In 2000, I came back here to the States and looked for my friends and applied for a job at the public school. And so I worked from 2001 to 2015 here in Washington, 2001 to 2017 between Washoe and Fernley, and going back to Washoe.
Gotcha. So
at UNR, it was also 17 years at UNR.
So 17 years both interchangeably between UNR, University of Nevada Reno in Washoe County, Lyon County School District, and teaching in Fernley. Wow, that's a lot of career, because I mean, from the teachers, from everybody that when I was in school and I would ask the other teachers while you were there, I'd ask them, like, well, how did you end up in Fernley, Nevada? There's nothing here. And some say it's like, well, I've been teaching 4 or 5 years in this part of the country, or I literally did some time over here and then just got into education. You literally came directly into Nevada, into Fernley. So that's an interest. How was that for you back then? Because I mean, guessing Colombia is bustling. It's a lot of social life, and it's a lot of a lot of entertainment, and then you get here and it's kind of like, well, you're in the middle of the desert. It's it's a little. I felt like it was a little jarring.
Well, I was in Washoe and I was working on my national board certification. I got that one too. But before finishing that in Washoe, I came here to Fernley because we got a house and I was thinking about my boys being in a town that was better than being in the city. So I I thought I could, do much better. So, but it still was kind of a little tough with all the kids. But we made it. I'm proud of my boys. They are doing well. One of them is in the Navy. The other one is an airplane mechanic. So they didn't turn that bad. So and I did it for them. That's why I came to Fernley. And after I fell in love with the people here, so I also used to go to the Catholic Church, and I met the parents of my students there, and that helped me. It made it much easier because at school I could tell the students, "I'm gonna see your parents on Sunday after church. What do you want me to tell them?" No. I'll bring the work. I will do. No, don't tell them anything.
Yeah.
And I should. I was working with the parents and the students, and yeah, so it worked pretty good for me.
Yeah, no, that's really good, especially yeah, like you know it, we know it. It's being such a small community that you get to really see the way that we can all interact a little bit. So with being in the States, being in Fernley, and being what do you call it? Being a teacher for you, how were those first few years when you first came to become a teacher, especially being I guess taking over the ESL program, correct, at Fernley High School?
Yes, it was okay, interesting, because in Washoe I have over almost 300 students in my classes. They were pretty big, and when I came here, the classes were smaller. But I used to see some of the kids 3 times a day. I did it for AP Spanish. I did it for ESL as a second language, and I did it also for helping them with the homework, like tutoring. So some of them need just 3 times a day, and also they spend time in my classroom during lunch or after school, and after we had the Spanish club. So it became like a family. I really enjoy that. I remember when I came to the school, it was shocking because the only thing I have in the classroom was a bookshelf with some dictionaries. That's all. And we work hard with the kids and the Spanish club, and I was fighting with the district here and with some of the administrators, and fighting until we got the computers, iPads, books, a lot of stuff for the kids that they they enjoy. Actually, I went back to the school last week, and there's nothing of the stuff I had. I don't know what happened. Now I understand that students have their own computers, so they don't need the computers. But at that time, my class wasn't really special because they have their own computers in the classroom, and they like that. And yeah, some of the teachers are, oh, what are you doing? So they say, I was fighting. I was going to the school district. I was talking to everybody, bugging everybody, and my students were spoiled. Some of the teachers say, oh, you cannot even mess with Miss Urrutia's kids because she will come here like a panther and fight for them. And I did it, and they know it. Enjoy. I didn't. I care more about my students than what the teachers were saying. Hmm. Talking to the teachers was tough, trying to ask them to understand my students, that they were learning English, and they say, oh, I don't understand them. And when we have the meetings with the student and the teachers, and they were speaking some English, trying to communicate with their other teachers, and I try to say, yeah, they are saying this and this and this, and they were like, how do you understand them? I said, well, you need to be patient. You need to be try to understand them. But I fought with some teachers and moved some of my kids from one classroom to another one. But most of the teachers were pretty good with me. Work good with my kids. Hmm.
No, yeah, you're very right. I do remember those years, especially when they started to make a lot of the cuts in the education, especially with like the incentives with the No Child Left Behind, and progressive, all of that stuff. So I do remember, and you just reminded me, is like it really was between whenever we would go and I would have ESL or we would have Spanish in there. Is like I remember the first year when I was there, like all we had was just the desks. You had your bookshelves, you had a desk, and then all the material for teaching Spanish. And then the following year we came back, and then the entire back row of the classroom is just, we have the new, new Dell computers and stuff. And then it became a really, really social location. So like now as an adult and having to also go through like the requisition and the purchase stuff, like I can understand now how difficult it really was, now that you're explaining it like that, how to be able to try to get us those resources, those limited resources that even back then were even more expensive. So dang, that I can say now for sure, I can really appreciate that a lot more, of the sacrifice that you put in for us, and to be able to give us a good opportunity. But let's see what else, man. So yeah, we, like you said, mentioned too, is like we all really became close and became a family. Like I know most of us have definitely kind of fell off the map. Like myself, I haven't reached out in many years, but I still remember a lot of the events and then just getting together. So for sticking with the school, for your time teaching there, how was it for you teaching the Spanish classes, having it been your primary language, but also one of the main reasons why you became a teacher? If I can assume that correctly?
Yeah. I was teaching Spanish at UNR too, and it was like a break from the high school, because sometimes but also when I started the AP program and teaching the Spanish, I also try to use my Spanish in my Spanish 1 class and my Spanish 2, and I try to communicate with them with your gestures and things. So to use a lot of Spanish in my class, and they got used to. Something funny was like every time I took something away from them, they have to wait until the end of the class. The Spanish class in Spanish and the English class in English, they need to ask me to return whatever I took from them in their language they were learning. And so that was motivating them. So not to take anything to the office. It was just between them and me. And I like that part too. So I was using a lot of Spanish in my and the ESL. Uh, I have to use English a lot because I have students from China, students from Vietnam. Remember, Tan, how
Yeah.
sweet. Students from Mexico, from India, from different countries. So the only language we could communicate was English, and we try to do it. And they help each other. Kids help each other, so they help me, because sometimes it was too much homework. I remember we have English 1, English 2, English 3, 4, math, health, all classes, homework and homework, and I have to just switch my brain from one subject to the other, trying to figure out. So at the end of the day, my head hurt, really, really hurt. But with kids like you and Andrea and the other ones that wanted to help the others, it made me much, much, much easier. And I understand it was tough. How tough it was that when I left Fernley High School, they hired 2 teachers to do my job, one for the Spanish and the other one for the ESL. I was begging the principal to get me somebody to help me, never did. Now the ESL teacher had 2 helpers, and she doesn't have to do anything with Spanish, so they have their own Spanish teachers. So it was tough, but we made it, and my kids like you made me proud. So made me proud. I have 3 that wanted to be Spanish teachers: Andrea, Cassandra, and Juanita. I know all of them didn't continue being a teacher because it wasn't as easy as they thought, but I'm very proud of them because they made it. And my other kids, Santi, Jan, all of them are, professionals doing their stuff. You are, I didn't know about you until now, so made me proud. I mean, I really, really, really appreciate all the sharing with you. I learn from you guys all every day. You challenge me. Oh, good. But yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah,
Mm.
no, and like I said, you inspired us to do a lot of things in reality, and like, and one thing I can say from my personal experience, having been in the Navy as well for so long, it wasn't even until, well, being bilingual, obviously we communicate within our communities, and we even communicate with I mean other Spanish speaking countries and everything. But one thing that I do remember is how hard you would push us, even though it's like, you know Spanish, but you don't know Spanish, which is completely different. And like I said, and I think about it because I actually had the opportunity to be an interpreter when we went down to go do a training mission down in Ecuador. So I was down there for 47 days helping out with the Ecuadorian military, with the naval forces down there, and it made a lot of a difference between what I had learned in Spanish, what I had learned from home, but also the one universal factor of, if you speak formal Spanish, there's very little that can be lost in translation, and it really helped me out a lot. And then I think about it, I was like, man, I really was a bad student. I would sleep in class. I would coast with a B, and I was like, I'll be fine, Miss Urruti, I'll be fine. But I, I didn't take that appreciation until now. I had to use it, really use it.
And I worked counselor so good with them. I did your schedule and say, no, you need to be in Spanish. There's
Mm-hmm.
no
Yeah.
choice.
Oh yeah.
In Spanish,
Yeah.
you need to get your credits. I remember one of them said, oh, I want to do this because I don't even have papers and I don't know, blah, 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 blah. I said, you do that. You save your credits when you are able to study. Later on, she and I said, now with the Obama thing, so they could go to college and they have the extra um, credits in Spanish. So it was really nice. So it made me feel good because I push you and you guys did it. So
Yeah, no, it's
yes.
very true. And
Mm.
that's like I said, we really appreciate you putting in that extra effort. And like I said, just having this conversation is learning and finding about the extra steps you had to take, and what you had to basically endure, trying to fight a very biased education system in Nevada, because being direct about the situation. I mean, we know what's currently happening in the States, but even back then it wasn't as apparent, but it was definitely a little bit pronounced, if I can say it
Hmm.
like that.
Yeah, and since I have the computers and the stuff for the ESL, and there were a few for the AP program, I needed to do the recordings. In the school, nobody will give me any technology. They gave me the old tape recorder,
Mm-hmm.
those old tape recorders, awful ones, but still, we'd work with the tape recorders. We made it, and you got your credits. Yeah, and I some of the teachers were jealous because you guys get fours and fives, and in the other areas they get like two, maybe three, or one. They didn't pass, but you guys did it, and so I was so proud. And even the principal used to say, "Oh, it's not fair. They know already Spanish," and I said, "No, it's not. They have been worked hard. It's not like they know it. They have been working, reading, and like trying not you to be lazy, but trying read, do this, and a lot of homework, and it was a lot of grading too, essays, a lot of stuff. Hmm. And I remember also I used to go on Saturdays to to read the writing proficiency and learn from them for the teachers and for the grading, so I could help my students for their writing when they have to do the writing at the high school. So I went there and actually sat there and read and saw what the problems were, and after try to help my students, fixing those problems. And it was okay. It was long Saturdays from 8 in the morning, sometimes to 4, sitting there. But I mean, it was good.
Yeah, it really
And
it really made a difference in reality. And with
yeah.
that too, though, how so we will now. I personally know that, but now we know that, like, what effort you had to put into being our teacher, our mentor in reality, to that extent. with your students at UNR, how was it different? Well, obviously they were a little bit more mature, but what was the difference with teaching at UNR versus being at the what do you call it, at the high school level? Because we understand the changes in curriculum and work, in workflow, and then the entire course load as well. But as a university professor, how was that?
Well, it was quite different because I didn't have to remind them about the stuff. They have all the syllables already. They knew what they have to do. Some of them knew Spanish, and actually they felt frustrated because they didn't even know how to spell Spanish. They didn't know how to talk properly. And I was talking to them, don't worry, it's not your fault. I mean, we can do it. And always I like them to do presentations. They hate those presentations, like you guys probably hate them, but those help them. And it was just, you need to do this, you need to do that, and everything was on the computer. The workbook was on the computer, most of the assignments on the computer, most of the essays on the computer. So it was different, but with you guys were much different because it was most personal, closer, and yeah. But teaching at UNR, I just try to follow the syllabus and just, my class. But yeah, they're supposed to be more responsible about that. It was kind of a break, especially because it's not just teaching a language, also, keeping an eye on them. So I didn't have to worry about wearing their hats or, sleeping in class. I just took points off when it was time for the week for grading. Only you got, one of the five, you were sleeping on the class, and then, oh yeah, that's how it works. I explained that at the beginning. With you guys, I have, to keep an eye on you and what are you doing? And those troublemakers who used to lie to me about not going to school and calling home and pretending they were the parents and finding out. Yeah, I know it was the student who was answered the phone and said, "Oh, my daughter can't go to school. She's not feeling well." Okay, hang up, call work and talk to the parent directly. And I said, "I just talked to you about." No, we didn't talk. "Oh, well, you said your kid." No, we didn't. So I got them in APEP too, and they remember that. They forget that. But I have to do that. So that is more helping them with their habits at the high school. Still, they needed some guidance. You and I were just, well, it's, you're responsible. You don't do it, you don't get your grade, a good grade, you don't get your points. But yeah, different. No.
Yeah, very true, very true, and it does happen like that. And did you actually ever get any of the previous your previous students at UNR in any of your courses while you were still teaching there?
No, I didn't get any because if they took Spanish, they didn't have to take the AP Spanish. Were good for Spanish 1 and 2. That were my regular classes. Oh yeah, I had maybe one, I guess. But I moved that. I said, no, you don't need to be in a Spanish 1 and 2. You already took a Spanish at a high school. You need to move or take it was narrative or composition, something. So I also forced them even there to move and take another classes because that was too easy for them. And one of them keeps saying, "Oh, but it's an easy grade for me. I just need for my, in GPA or something." I say, "No, but you're wasting your time here. You could do a better job." But you cannot force them. I know. But what I did is I had different, the same family, different generations, like the Santillan, 5 kids. It was so interesting having all of them. So grew up since neck graders to seniors. I knew the whole family. That
Man,
was, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I know
those.
you guys give me tricks. So you know who, Andrea, who, oh my goodness.
Yeah, we got on her a couple times. Don't worry about that. We got on her a couple times about, I was like, hey, you like, she's hard on us, but it was calm down a little bit too. But at the same time, it's like I get it. We didn't know better, but at the same time, it's like, hey, we understood what we were doing too. So it's not
Dario Andrea didn't make it easier for me, paying me jokes and I was like almost ready to a heart attack. Yeah. They were, oh, no, 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 no. And I remember some kids just didn't like each other and they were really rude to each other and saying bad things. And I said, well, if you want to call her attention, just go to her and talk to her. And I said, okay, when you do that, it's because you want somebody's attention. If you want the person's attention, just no, 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 no. And after they started, I said, okay, do you mean you need this person attention? Oh, you need your time. And they were like, and they won't say a word because every time they say something, I just put against them, like, and they were like, no, I don't mean. I say, you say something bad is because you want the attention. Say still something nice instead of saying that thing. Say like, I like you. I would like to spend time with you. I like me. And they were like, it was funny. I remember that.
Oh yeah.
And
No.
it's
I
all of the silly, stupid things.
Oh yeah. No, yeah. There's a lot of juvenile things where even I think about nowadays and it's like, man, this is they're good experiences, but it's like you really don't understand how mature you really are until you're on this side of the perspective and you're dealing with younger counterparts, whether you're teaching, tutoring, or even just delving into the new workforce. It's like maybe a year or two apart, but those 2 years make a difference.
Mm-hmm. And I remember outside my classroom, some of the other kids were picking on my kids. So in the area, um, taking things away and pushing them and being mean to them. So I used to go to the principal office and I said, I want to see the cameras. And I said, I want this time and see what they doing to my kid. So, and they knew they couldn't touch my kids. They know. They know because they are shy and they are not comfortable. They don't know the language. So and the other kids they think they can play and play games. No, no, we mind.
Yeah.
And what I remember when we celebrate, our work and we have those special lunch and you guys, it was like I said in Mexico, traje, no, the traje, ¿cómo se dice? Everybody used to bring something to share in the class and we have a nice table and we share and the other teachers are like,
Oh, like
I'm teaching.
when we used to do the potluck and everybody bring in, yeah.
And I remember, yeah, some of them are good, really good food. And I enjoy that. And I remember that. And the other teachers are like, I said, well, they deserve that because they have been working hard and it's part of the class. And yeah, so, oh yeah, a lot of fun things that now that I'm doing this, I'm remembering and it made me happy that it was, a lot of nice things, experience. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no, it was a lot of nice things. No, it was a great. I always look back to it every single time I try to think of it. I was like, man, we did so many things in that school, for that school too, with the way that we always try to include everybody and try to even work with all the other clubs and all the other groups out there. Like any other place, there's always going to be some animosity, but I think with us, the Spanish club in general, and then even international club with Miss Frau Walker, was that it was just that branching out between, it's like, hey, we get it. It's we're a little bit isolated. We know what's out here already, but how about we take a little bit of extra focus on the other people that are already been around here. So I think Spanish club really did help out, especially like in my junior and my senior year with the way that a lot of the Sparrow weeks came out with the holidays and celebrations, and then obviously with our sponsored events, trying to help out and do fundraisers when we were selling food for the soccer games or mm-hmm. during football season, doing the candygrams for Valentine's Day too. I know we did that once or twice. And
yeah, I remember it. So remember you guys, Spanish club used to give the seniors the gown and everything for the graduation and have I forgot, the one especially with the colors. Um, for the graduation. So when they just passed by, they knew it. They were the Spanish club, and you guys were so proud, and I was prouder than you guys. Oh, look at my, they are the Spanish club.
Oh yeah.
And we did together. It's not what me deciding. You guys, we decided together. So it was nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was a lot of good times with that. It really was. And well, pushing it a little bit more forward, well, we graduated. We graduated 2011. I know Cassandra, Juanita, Andrea, they went to school. I know Andrea, she was a couple years behind us. Obviously the Saavedras, we knew them for a long time. They had all the younger siblings. And then on top of that, Arriaga, it was Brenda and her brother, and then their younger siblings. And then I don't think my brother and sister, Hugo and Maria, I don't think they actually had you in class. I think by that time you had already either left or you were already on route to retire. But
yeah, I left. Yeah, but yeah, I remember I have also the three sisters, Michelle. What was remember she when she was pregnant. Oh, the babe, she was pregnant. I forgot.
The only person I remember is Diane. Diane was the last one. Diane, her sisters. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
I remember Diane trying to make me do stuff for her, and I was like, "No, you go to the office and you tell me stuff about this and this and this and that." Yeah, and sometimes she really pretty girl, and she got I remember a contract via model, and when she, oh, I know, Miss Urrutia, why don't you answer the phone and pretend it's me? And I was like, well, if I pretend that you, I have to go and do the modeling thing. I don't think they will take me, and I will also be paid for that. They say, no, you do it, you do it, you do it. See all of them. So yeah, the Guevaras, all of them. I did the Guevara. Yeah, so it was nice.
Yeah,
it was.
You really saw most of us grow to the adults that we are now, and I'm kind of glad now that I really reached out again, because I was having a little difficulty trying to find your contact information, especially after your name change, after your I'm guessing it was your divorce, after your divorce. So it was a little difficult, but after reaching out with Juanita and Cassandra, and then finally seeing the post that with Andrea when you guys went back to La Fiesta to the restaurant, it's just like, all right, this is the only chance I'll have within the next year to be able to do this. So let's try to make it a little bit special, man. But yeah, like I said, it's a lot of things that just keep coming back, and I keep thinking about with the way that we did the entire the experiences, the great experiences that we had with you as a teacher. But with that, moving, like I said, moving a little bit forward and seeing just the generations, the younger siblings, us, and then your final years at Fernley. When you left Fernley and what do you call it? When you left Fernley, did you continue teaching right there at UNR, or was that ultimately your time when you retired in 2015?
No, both. I was teaching still at UNR, but also I had to choose between the Monte and Hugg High School, and guess what school?
Hugg.
So
Hugg. Wow.
Couple of years, and that school was, coming apart almost. Now they have such a beautiful school. Goodness, it's like a city. It's so nice. But yeah, I was teaching there for 2 years, and yeah, I enjoyed too. Quite different. Quite different. I wasn't teaching ESL. I was just teaching Spanish, and yeah, but quite different. So because it was city, it was not a little Fernley town anymore. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the problem from what my siblings too tell me, was that Hugg was always it's always been a very problematic school in a lot of ways. I don't know if you had any bad experiences while you were at Hugg, because one thing I remember from friends that I had actually moved from Fernley and ended up either going to Reed, to DeMonte, or Hugg, was that there was always big problems going on in Hugg, and I don't know if it might have had something to do with the fact that was the largest one of the larger schools that had a lot of the Hispanic or the majority of ethnic people, minorities in all of Reno, with partially the exception, I guess, of I don't want to say Wooster or Sparks, but I think Hugg and Sparks were the two majority minority schools in all of Reno.
Yeah, I remember there were some problems, and of course, in my class, I could have students very frustrated that they work, and so, but I didn't fight with them or try, no. I used to always put on my reports. The student has not been working at all in my class, doing nothing. So when they were at the office, first thing they said is like, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. And they used to say, it's exactly what the teacher wrote. You are doing nothing in her class. And after they were, oh, because of you, I'm in APEP. And I say, no, I just have to report what happens. It's nothing. I just, for your good and for mine, I have to just report. And sometimes some of those that were really, really troublemakers, I used to sit at the computer, I pretend I was looking at them, I pretending I'm writing, looking at them, I pretending I'm writing. And they were just like, oh, she's writing something, she's doing something, but I wasn't. So I tricked them too sometimes. But when I had to do it. So I have one of my kids that was marijuana thingy. Oh my goodness. We have to open the door, the window, send him to the office, and after they say they didn't find anything on him, and so they couldn't do anything. I was like, what? So I had to take it just easy. I just report everything is. But I never got involved with their arguing or anything. I was just like, no, no, not me, because they were so angry. Some of them really, really angry, and I, I used to see some of they fighting with the other teachers, and I say I don't want to be in that position, so I'm just gonna write what happened. And okay, they want to be out of my class, they can be out of my class, but I won't fight with them. I won't tell them any bad things. Don't call, never call my students names. Nothing. It's just like, no, 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 because no, it wasn't healthy. Oh no. hmm But it was a couple of years. So, yeah, a friend of mine, he said, how do you do it with these kids? Oh my goodness. And he said, well, sometimes they need somebody just to listen to them and, do something for them instead of all the time. They have problems at home. They come to school and the teachers, nya, 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 they explode. They just can't take it that. And that school had a lot of stuff because they had their own kitchen. They have daycare for the students. They have a closet. They have extra food. They have a lot of things for them. I can't imagine how is he doing now. At the new high school, much, 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 much stuff. But I'm happy for them. But a better place. The good thing about now the high is that it's away from the main roads. So it's just to really get in there or go there is like there has to be some control. Somebody's gonna be, watching you. But at the other place, people just coming in and out all the time. You didn't know what. So it was quite different.
Yeah.
Well, mm, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and with that too, with Hugg, with you teaching at Hugg, were there any students that stood out to you, like I guess kind of like how we did, that still maintain contact, that you actually made that have actually reached back out? Nobody?
No, 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 because they were just Spanish. Most of them were just English speakers, and no, and there was the other teacher who had them. They were the Spanish speakers, so they got in contact. I don't know, and yeah, there was no much relation with them. Yeah, and I tried to put together the Spanish club, but no, they didn't really want to work on that. So yeah, and so I was I felt lucky because we did so many things at Fernley High. Remember the dresses for the dances? We did a lot of stuff there. And after I left, no more Spanish club. Since I left 2015, not a Spanish club. No Cinco de Mayo party, nothing. Nothing. All that stuff. Nobody wants to mess with that. But I did. I enjoy it with you guys. So it was fun.
Yeah, us too. And it seems like it was just one of those unique situations where we just we all just kind of really came together trying to find a way to be able to connect. And like I said, it's being having traveled the world. I'll put it this way. Having traveled the world, being in the military in such a large melting pot with different cultures and different people, it makes me appreciate a lot of what that unique connection we all had, kind of in the same way that I have had with a lot of people that I've served so far. It's just that continued push to try to be unified in reality and try to have that culture kind of come through, because it was difficult growing up, enough as it was growing up as an illegal immigrant, primarily Spanish speaking, and then on top of that being ethnic. That's the biggest thing, is being a different culture in a largely white and Caucasian community with a lot of tendencies. I'm not going to say something specific, but with a lot of tendencies. And then especially after you leave and you begin to experience the world, is like certain things do leak out into where you go, but not everything is the same. Like I said, I've had great experiences outside of Fernley, but it still reminds me of like how unified as a small community we really were, both with Spanish Club, with ESL, with everybody there, and then just in general, Fernley High School for me, and I can say for a couple people, was just a really unique experience. That talking to colleagues and other service members, is just like it makes a bigger splash for me than it does for them, because like I experienced it. We had great teachers. We had great mentors, primarily you, and just everybody that just lived there. So it's always interesting after the fact.
Mm-hmm. Really, really, really.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah, but let's see, with, I guess, just a couple final questions. I think we've touched on a pretty good portion. So when did you actually retire? If because you left Fernley, you continued teaching. Did you from teaching just in general? When did you retire from being an educator?
2017, I retired. I retired. Yeah, because I could. I didn't want to. I got vertigo, so I have to retire because of my health, and I was going back to Colombia too. So my kids graduated, so they were doing great. So I moved back to Colombia, Mexico and Colombia. Between Mexico and Colombia, I did that.
And then what have you been doing for your free time now? I mean, that's a lifetime of being a teacher, being a mentor, and an educator. What did you do what are you doing now with your free time, I guess?
My free time now is focused on traveling. I have been doing a lot of traveling, and also sometimes I tutor, but just not they needed a tutor, but it's not like I have to tutor every single day or every single Monday, Tuesday. No, I just do it when they needed to. And that's it. I enjoyed spending time with my mom and in Colombia and driving around the country. I just like it, Colombia, a lot. So I'm going back because the weather here doesn't help me. It's too cold now. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A lot of things have changed since then, man. Well, I'm out of words at this point. I mean, this is like I said, one of those interviews that I had been planning for years, and luckily we were actually able to connect directly, like with the power of the internet, so novel, so new when we were still in school, and now we can literally just reach out to everybody in the blink of an eye. So. But no, I mean, I think we covered a pretty good portion about your educational career, a little bit of the steps from you leaving Colombia to come to the United States on a very unique way, which that was one thing I didn't know, and I feel really bad for not asking that, primarily, especially when I was in school. It's like, how did you come out here? How did you become a teacher? And now I know. Now I know. But I think, yeah, I mean, do you have any questions for me or anything else you'd like to say?
I only have to say that I'm very proud of you, that you're my students and you are doing great. I wish you the best and hopefully I'll keep in touch.
No,
Mhm.
yeah, we'll definitely do. And I mean, now that I know David's still in the Navy as well, who knows? I might end up in Guam, or he might come somewhere wherever I'm at. So I'll definitely look out for his last name whenever I'm searching the name tapes.
Barbosa. Use Barbosa.
He's Barbosa. Gotcha. But yeah, well,
Okay.
man, I think this is a good spot to end the interview. So before we close it off, do you want to give a shout out to any of your favorite students? Obviously, not me. I'm already here. I'm the one doing the interview.
Oh, my favorite student. Why they say that I'll be in trouble if they see this. Yeah, but all my Hispanic students were my Spanish club, all of them. I really love them, enjoy them, even though they get all my gray hair and my wrinkles, but still love them. Yeah.
Well, that's
Yes.
yeah. No, well, to close it off and to really bring it back to the start of the interview in this brief is, like I said, thank you for being a great educator, a teacher. And that's the reason for this episodes, for this mini series of episodes, to be able to give back to the teachers where that you do so much. On the other hand, it's like I said, you along with Mr. March being my two ESL teachers growing up from my early years and in high school is like the reason why I want to do these interviews and I want to continue doing them. And like I said, I want to give you your praise for being the inspiration for the name of the podcast, the sessions in themselves, and to thank you for all of your lessons primarily. And yeah, but I think that's a pretty good portion to close it off. Thank you very much, Miss Marta Barbosa. Now, no longer Miss Urrutia. I don't want to insult you.
Okay.
But thank you very much. And I think we'll go ahead and close it off. This has been another episode of the ESL sessions and in the segment En Mi Comunidad. And we'll go ahead and close it off right here. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.